Hello, we are live. I am here with Chepe Mariscal on after a huge performance on UFC Vegas 103. How are you doing, Chepe?
I'm doing good. Just didn't come out with any big injuries, so just getting ready for the next one.
Awesome. I saw you had your fingers were a little taped up, a little bit banged up in the post fight presser, but that's all good. You're ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. They like I told them, yeah, like I think I hit my knuckles, and they were pretty swollen when I got back there, so they were like, we should get those checked. So I went Monday, already got the X-rays, and yeah, everything was good. They're like, you're a little bruised, but you'll be good like in a week. So I was like, all right, cool. Went straight back to the gym and done a little training here and there already. But yeah, looking forward to the future.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to hear. I don't want to ask you the same question you've been asked a million times. I watched the post fight presser, your Octagon interview, and everybody was asking who you want next. You made it pretty clear that you would fight absolutely anyone. So after a performance like that over a guy as dangerous as Ricardo Ramos, I want to ask you, what does your perfect path to the title look like in your mind? Like, who would you fight and when?
It's pretty tough, right? Because like now they're adding more guys to the featherweight division. So I feel like if any of ththose guys, like let's say Pitbull beats Yair, like where does he stand now in the rankings? And so and then Gene Silva now is going to like fighting a ranked opponent, David Onama. Like I've been looking at the whole featherweight division, but I feel like it's anybody at that point, like I'll fight number 10, number 5. Like I even told my manager to throw my name in for that Miami card because there's like 5 or 4 featherweight fights. So just in case of a fallout, like man, throw me in. I've been saying yes to all the guys that nobody wants to fight. I said yes to the Russian. I just been in that yes attitude. I just don't want to be known for a fighter to ever say no, like not even once. So I'm just trying to do that.
You spoke about your willingness to take that short notice fight against Dan Ige. Obviously, he got rebooked. That didn't happen. Is that a matchup that you think is that a fight that you think you match up well in? And is that something you would want again?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think like the any of those fights right now, like anybody that's in ahead of me, it's just a challenge that I just feel like, you know, it's something I have to accept and it's part of the journey. So it's yeah, I even said yes to him. I've even tried to rebook it. I've tried to rebook many fights already, like in the ranked guys. I'm surprised there's some guys that said no, and I just feel like there's some guys that like to hold their spot in the rankings or not
Right.
fight or want to fight somebody ahead or they have different plans, and to me it's like the more I try to make these plans, it kind of the game has always changed it up. So it's like, man, let me just be ready for anybody, anytime, anywhere, and that's only improved my game more and more of going out there and putting the right kind of fights out there now.
And you speak about being ready for anyone at any time. I just want to go back through your record outside of the UFC because I don't know if people realize the strength of schedule that you had before you even set foot in the octagon. Names like Gregor Gillespie, Bryce Mitchell, Pat Sabatini, Yusuf Salal, Joe Anderson Brito, Steve Garcia, and Sean Soriano are all on your record before you even made your UFC debut. Speak on that a little bit because I don't think that's something that we see very often is people willing to take these incredibly tough fights because they don't want to risk damaging their record and preventing them getting a shot in a promotion like the UFC. Just talk about how this has shaped you.
Uh, so I feel like I needed those losses at the time. Like I was kind of like not doing the right fight kind of stuff. I wasn't eating the right way, wasn't hanging out with the right people, wasn't committing. Like you could train there, you could be. It's easy to be in the room and be a hobbyist, or a guy that's just a floater in this sport, and it's easy that everybody every day is just gonna say good job, you're doing well when they don't even really know, like, are you meeting goals? Are you making goals? Are you accomplishing fights? Are you winning fights? And that's where I started, like, my amateur career. I was 18-1 with 17 finishes. And that's when I was all in. I was like fully committed. And then I got into the pro life where all these other pros were living way different. They were drinking and going to training, or, like, just not fully committed, right? Like, they were just partying too much. So I kind of fell into that. And that kind of just, those fights, like, kind of woke me up. Like, I lost to Gregor Gillespie, but didn't change anything. And then I fought, I like everybody that I fought that I should have changed my camp. I didn't. I was like, no, I know it all. I've been training forever. I've been sparring with Dillashaw and all these other guys, and I know they know that I've been, like, I even, that I showed them what's up in some couple rounds. So it was like, all right, like, I'm like on the right path, but not just there. So, like, losing on those fights made me go back, like, watching those fights, like, watching them, it was like, it, like, it's gut wrenching. Like, it hurt, even more than I thought. Like, I was like, maybe it wasn't for my eyes to see, but maybe it is. Like, maybe I need to go through this pain and this small suffering. And then, so it wasn't like the fighting part. Like, I could fight, but it was like the outside stuff getting into the cage when it shouldn't. So I felt like those fights, like, I had to, like, stay more focused and then not saying no to them. I felt like something in the universe was like, yo, fight this dude. Oh, you got knocked out, but, like, it's on you now. Do you want to get back in? Or do you just want to retire? Like the quitting it sounds so much easier. There's like more opportunities to be like a trainer or a coach, and not so much for a fighter. So then I was like, nah, I want to really do this. So, like, I did everything I can to, like, fix up those things. I know I was like on a 2 losing streak, and then literally I changed my life like, the next day. Like, I started going to church. I started having faith. I stopped hanging out with people. Like, I just started, like, sticking, to this dream, the goals, the mindset of becoming a better fighter. And then suddenly I'm on a 8-fight win streak and 5-0 in the UFC.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, absolutely, these changes you've made have definitely paid off. Unbeaten in the octagon against guys like Morgan Charret and Jack Jenkins, incredibly tough opponents that we would be impressed to see on somebody's regional record as well. And give yourself some credit. You keep talking about these losses, but wins over Yusuf Zalal when he was 6-0, Pat Sabatini, he had already had like 9 fights at the time. Huge notches in your belt to have before even getting to the UFC. So really a lot of experience on your record beforehand. I think we see a lot of guys getting signed younger, which I do think the talent pool is changing as well. Mm-hmm. People start training MMA as its own discipline at a very young age now, whereas we just didn't see that years and years ago. I know you have a heavy background in judo. Was that your main focus for a long time before you transitioned into other martial arts?
No, so I started with judo at the age of 6. Wow. There was a gym like 2 blocks from my house, and they threw us in there, like, to me in the big picture, like, they threw us in there for like a daycare kind of thing, like, hey, we're always at work here. There's a gym by 2 blocks away.
Great daycare.
Yeah, let's try it out. So yeah, it was like 1 week. Like, I mean, I was like 6 years old, and then like a week later, like there was like an in-house tournament, and then the coach was like, oh, you're like telling my parents, like, oh, you're like, your kids should do it. And I have 2 other siblings, and we kind of got into judo really well, where we're like, all right, yeah, let's compete. And then we all 3 of us won first place. So it was like natural to us. So then, like, at the age of 9, I started mixing it up with, well, our gym kind of just had boxing, MMA classes. Like, they had just full MMA schedules of different things, though, not exactly MMA. You had to be a teen or an adult. And then like at the age of 9, I was like, man, I went to my first promotion, the 21 and over promotions. I went with the coach, and the coach was like, oh yeah, that's my son. And so they let me in, and then my coach was at the time was like, okay, you're going to stay here, watch this fights. I got to go corner some guys. I'll be back. And literally I was sitting there, and then like somebody got knocked out and the crowd like blew up. And that's when I was like, man, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I was just so awesome. Like I was geeked. So then, yeah, then I just started trying to improve every style from there on. Like I started trying to get on the judo teams, the jiu-jitsu teams, like everything that was like kind of in my way. Like I even went to high school wrestling because it would improve my game. I wrestled in college. I did whatever to perfect these styles, but like I didn't want to be an NCAA champ or anything like that. Like everything was like kind of focused into MMA. So then, yeah, I was young. I was just sharpening up all my weapons for the time that I am in right now.
Well, and I think you said it best. You weren't focused on being an NCAA champion. I want to know your thoughts on taking the wrestling route throughout college versus trying to get into mixed martial arts younger. Obviously, we've seen some really talented wrestlers transition over, like Bo Nickel, and have a lot of success. We've also seen guys like Pat Downey maybe not have as much success in MMA. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's a better option to go the route that you've gone, where you focus directly on MMA earlier?
Well, it depends. Like at the time, like when you're part of the wrestling season and everybody's talking about nationals, you're like, you know what? Yeah, a national title does not sound nice, right? Like,
Right.
so it's kind of like meeting those ends and those goals, but letting them go once you don't, like, if you don't accomplish it. If you do accomplish it, great. That's something to add to your resume. But even just having that experience of going out there and adding it to, life, like let's say a work promotion, you didn't get it, are you gonna give up, you're gonna quit? I feel like that's how MMA was. Like, yeah, like MMA was always for me. Like no matter how much like I've lost or lose in the room, like it's about continuing on, and it's about being yourself, not letting yourself lose yourself in the game. And I've lost myself a couple times in the game, and I just don't want fame or the lights to get to me where it distracts that, and I know a lot of fighters that can, like wrestlers that come out of, wrestling straight into MMA. I feel like they bring some kind of discipline, but
Yeah.
it's if can they handle the big crowds, the
Mm.
cameras, the talking on the mic, can they really balance that out and really like do the two thing, like the Conor McGregor, the Chael Sonnen, can they talk and fight? Can they fight and talk? It's those kind of mindsets too when you're getting in this game. So I feel like a lot of fighters are still looking for finding their voice and who they are as a character in the game.
Right. I mean, you spoke a little bit about losing yourself. What can you tell me in a little more detail what you mean and what kind of got you back out of that?
So like winning, I was winning a lot at the time, and then even if I lost, I started winning a lot more. And then kind of, like the outside stuff is like, are you financially stable? Are you healthy? Are you good? Are you out of debt? Like the real life stuff outside of fighting, like, some fighters like to stay in that fighter realm, where they're like, oh, well, I don't have to pay taxes or I don't have to do this, like, no, I'm gonna be a UFC champ, like they don't think of the future or the past on things. And that's where I kind of done research on like fighters who would spend millions on a day or something, and then now they're in debt and fighting for crazy like no money because they have to pay off the debts and all this other thing. So I feel like it's bigger picture than just fighting. I feel like you have to do the outside things. So when you do go out there and fight, you have nothing to think about but 15 minutes of, beating somebody.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely can relate to that. Absolutely. I fight as well. And it's like your identity is not a fighter. Like it's not your purpose in life is not just to be a fighter. There's definitely more to life. That's something my husband and I, he's literally the only comment we have so far is from my husband. So guys, you got to step up your game. So this isn't the whole comment section.
Yeah.
um, But yeah, spoken absolutely beautifully, you know. I you're married now, you have a baby on the way. Like, how has this helped bring more purpose into your life?
A lot more structure. You know, like I have now a schedule to follow. The just in case. Right now, I'm on a just in case call because the baby's due like on Wednesday.
Oh
So like,
gosh.
yeah. So everything's kind of we got like everything kind of in order, even for fight camp. Like she couldn't make it to my fight, and that kind of freaked me out because I was like, oh, like I'm used to her voice. I'm used to her just
Mm.
being like, that mindset of like, literally when before I left, she had that mindset of like, it's come back with your shield or come back on it, like that kind of mindset, and I was like, hell no, well, I'm gonna bring it back, like she knows the right things to say, the right fire. So it's just great, like that we planned all these things out. We did the fight camp, we got a nutritionist, had the right mindset, and then we went out there, performed, we got a win, and then back to this schedule where it's like just getting ready for the baby.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you spoke about her support for you taking this fight, even though it was going to be so close to her due date. And I know, like, I understand with Grant as well. We've had moments where maybe it wasn't the best timing to take a fight, but you got to pay the bills, especially now, more important than ever, right? What are her plans? Is she planning to get back in the cage after the start of motherhood?
Oh yeah, she's been itching. She's this whole time of training, she's been shadow boxing. She's been doing like these wall squats, all anything that she can do to get the itch out. So it's funny to see her like 9 months pregnant throwing head kicks, and it's like, wow, like what, like the woman's body is amazing, so it's, and just I'm 1,000% sure they're built for pain. So like it's just so cool to see like what she can do, and then she's obviously wants to get back in the cage. Like she's like all about like when she could get back to training, like when is it normal. But yeah, that's the big picture of like she's gonna be even probably part of my next training camp. Yeah, and then like right now I could chill when the baby comes. I could be full time, and then I'm glad that there's night training, like there's gyms are open. So I could go do some training if I have to, or home stuff, like there's always somewhere to improve. I feel like if you can't do it physically, it has to be spiritually, mentally, so yeah, just that.
I have a couple more quick questions for you, and then we're going to play a little game, and I'll let you get out of here. But first of all, you have a baby coming. You're talking about you and your wife getting right back into the gym. How do you feel about your children fighting?
Uh, I don't think I want them to fight. Like I think I want them to train and stuff like I'm like some fighters we got to dig somewhere
Yeah.
dark, somewhere, deep, where like I don't even think I want my kids to be thinking or digging that deep, like so it's like it'd be cool for them to like know how to defend themselves, or like just in case, right? Be athletic. I don't even want my kids to do like kickboxing or boxing, because I feel like the brain is not fully developed. um Even scary, like I don't even want them to do judo, because I remember doing judo and
Mm.
throwing kids on their heads, and even I would give up my head to throw them on their head. So it's like that was kind of unsafe, and I remember like having some fogginess when I was little, so it's like, all right, maybe this is a little different, but if they come out like dogs, man, if they come out with that hunger and that little fire, like, all right, well, we'll give it a try. But obviously, I would want them to be coached by somebody else. I don't know if I could balance the dad and
Yeah.
coaching kind of thing. So it'd be cool to look at it from a distance, grow with it, and then try to find a way to coach them or be in their corner. But yeah, it's just it'd be cool either way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny. The more interviews I've done with fighters, there are two things that I've found out that surprise me. One, most fighters do not want their children to be fighters. Like it, you'd be surprised how many fighters feel that way. But the second thing is a lot of fighters don't watch film. Like they aren't fully fans of the sport. They love to fight, but they don't sit down every Saturday and watch every single UFC card. What is happening in the Mariscal household on Saturdays?
For sure, film. You know, we watch even LFA cards, anything. We fully watch it just to really understand of the. We like to say like the mat management, cage management, where to be, where not to be. Yeah, it's just like I like to say like every other sport. You know, like basketball or football, like where to be for the big shots. You know, for the right touchdowns, like things like that. So I feel like footing is important in the sport. I know what's his name, Drakis. He's not a big foot guy, you know, footwork guy, but I could tell he's a dude that puts his feet under him all the time on those punches. So I just think he lacks on IQ, but it's about knowing what you're doing in the sport, and I feel like the more I paid attention and the more I watch even my own film, because watching your own film is where you got kind of get too judgy and stuff like that. But like I feel like that's when I kind of just started loving myself more. I started talking more positive of those losses, instead of like, oh my God, I should have got a takedown. Like, oh, at least I tried, or I did this. Like I started talking even with my wins. Some of my wins I want obviously finishes and knockouts and bonuses. That'd be great. But I feel like I'm just learning how to perfect a style more for like myself in the long run, where I could get these knockouts, survive, probably fight another in another 2 months, 3 months. But yeah, just try to keep it consistent until the game says no more to me.
And I think you said it best. With going back and watching your own film, I've definitely found that some of what I feel are my worst losses, when I finally was willing to go and watch the film, it was never as bad as I thought it was in the moment. I never looked quite as bad as I had thought I had. So I think it's super important to do this. But
Totally agree.
I am gonna pull up our game. So we're gonna pull up the oh, can I not add you as well? Add to stage. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're gonna pull up the UFC 313 card. So you said you're a guy that watches a lot of films. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get some awesome answers from you on this. We're gonna go through this card. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions about UFC 13.
Okay.
313. So what is the most hyped fight on this card for you?
For me, it's Faziz and Gaethje for sure. Like
And the
that
first,
fight, just the first time it was like it was fireworks. But it's like, even knowing that this dude took a short notice, I think it's a little different when you take a short notice. You just like fuck it, like let's see what happens, and I like the guy's attitude. So yeah, that one's I think the most hyped one right now.
do you have a pick for that fight this time around? Were you surprised to see Gaethje as the underdog?
Yeah, well, I got Gaethje for sure. I've been training with that guy, for a while now, and I just see him improve in the gym, and his attitude and his fighter IQ. I definitely got him on that. But like I said, I think everybody kind of looks at it as Faziz. Like he took a break, he went to go build himself up. He didn't really have a fight camp for this one, so he gets to go out there and have some fun. But yeah, I definitely got Gaethje on that one.
All right. Next question. What
Yeah.
is the most underrated banger on the card?
I'd say the Turner fight.
That is definitely the right answer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's going to definitely be a banger. Like I've been, and what's crazy is like I've been seeing like people's picks and stuff, and they haven't brought up that one. So I'm like, man, that's insane. That one's gonna definitely be a banger for sure.
My absolute thoughts on that is, like, I can't see Turner losing a whole lot of striking battles, but I love Bahamondes' style, the spins. It's just it's going to be exciting either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Which fight has a guaranteed finish?
Guarantee. I think Curtis smokes his guy, Curtis Blades, for sure. Like he's just on one right now. He's been training hard. He's been a different animal in the room. His attitude, and I think the guy that he's fighting, like, cannot stop his double legs or the rhythm that he's been holding on his fights.
Rizvan actually trains at ATT with us. He's a
Really?
very large man.
Fuck. Is he a wrestler now? No, just kidding.
I have nothing to say. No, I'm kidding. All jokes aside, best of luck to both guys.
Right,
Which
right.
guy will definitely go the distance, in your opinion?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a tough one. It could be. Yeah, this is a banger for sure. Montana. What is it? Montana? Montano? Moreno? What is it? His name? I can't even see
Oh,
that.
Alex Morono. Or
Yeah, there
Carlos
you go,
Gal. Sorry,
Moreno.
I don't know how to make it bigger.
Maybe that fight for sure,
Yeah.
but yeah, because obviously don't know the other two fights that well. I know that Santos was the Ultimate Fighter champ. I don't really know Marshall, Santos, and Diaz. That one could go to the scorecards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the lighter weights, perhaps.
yeah.
All right. Who is your lock of the card?
The lock of the card. Let's see. I'll go with Pereira.
That's your solid lock. Do you have like a little breakdown on that fight for what you think we're gonna see?
Well, if the Russian stand up, I think it could be a second to third round finish with a left hook from Pereira or a good kind of combo. But I feel like Pereira is not big on like the first round, kind of like hunting down. I feel like he likes to read the guys and then kind of like the second and third finish the dudes. That's why I was pretty impressed that Roundtree survived all the way to the fourth.
Yeah. Honestly, very, very impressive by Roundtree. That was a kind of a sleeper fight, I think. What is the best underdog pick on the card?
Undercard. Is Vaughn an underdog?
Oh, Joshua Van?
Oh, there you go,
I don't
Van.
think so. I think he's the favorite.
Wow.
I'm not
Well,
sure. I
it
know.
has to be his opponent, if anything.
You think?
Yeah,
You
because
think he's the sleeper?
yeah, it can be. I don't know.
I think he's like 10-0. I was gonna say you also have Gaethje as an underdog as well.
That's crazy. Gaethje for sure. Then, if I
That's
have
fair.
to go up to the main cards, yeah, like it would have to be Gaethje.
Oh no, you can pick anywhere on the card. I just any underdog. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would be probably be him. I don't know who else is on the underdogs on that list. That's why.
That's fair. That's fair. Not a betting man.
No, not at all.
Who's the biggest superstar on the card?
It has to be Pereira for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, I don't have to throw you up there after every time. Ooh, who's your best prospect to watch on the card?
Let's see. Prospect. It would have to be Santos. He was like the Ultimate Fighter champion. And I feel like that's just one good way to like really get into the UFC. But I'm pretty sure he can make some noise as he evolves.
Myron Santos. Oh, my screen lock went on. Okay, who has the most to gain on the card?
Ooh, the guy that's fighting Curtis for sure.
Rizvan?
Yeah, him or Faziz, because he fucking took that on the short notice, and that's such a scary fight.
Who would you say has the most to lose?
Oh, most to lose. Yeah, I think it would be Gaethje just because Faziz, took it at short notice. It would hurt him if he got beat.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one as well. Thank you for playing. Thanks for coming on the show. Is there anybody you want to shout out? Anything else you want to say to everybody watching before we let you
shout out to my management team, Iridium. Shout out to my wife, Claire Guthrie or Claire Mariscal, and shout out to all the machine gun fans out there.
Absolutely, we appreciate you, Chepe. Thank you so much. This was a blast. See you guys in the next one.
Sweet.